Hello YouTube, Marauders here, and today we have the Sony action camera AS100, and this is essentially the latest iteration of Sony's GoPro competitor. And well, let's take a look. So it's from the base we can see that it has the ASMR sensor, so it's high quality sensor. It has 13.5 megapixels for still images, and it comes with steady shot. And of course it's like everyone has to put a HD on it, so it has GPS tracking, has a cow Zeus lens on it, NFC for quick tagging with your remote viewing device if supported, Wi-Fi for wireless communications with another remote control device, and well, that's all the features you can see. A pair of stereo mics, so it has an actual stereo microphone for recording, and well, the voice actually, the mic quality is actually quite good, I must say, for something this small. And okay, let's look at some internals. Let's start off with a little mount, the mount connector. Now this is the mounting screw. Now it's not your standard size, so that's why in the packaging Sony gave this guy. So when you screw it on, you essentially have your standard 1/4 inch screw type mount for the action camera, so you can just screw it onto any normal tripod or anything to hold it. Now let's get back to the lens for a quick while. So it's a wide angle lens. I think it's like 170 degrees. And if we open up the back, so here we have the battery. So this is what they call an XMBP BX1 type battery. Now if you have any of the older action cameras, this thing doesn't need a sled for the battery anymore. It just slides in and out of the camera case of the camera. And here we have the micro SD slot, which also accepts M2, one of the Sony memory, micro size memory as well. Now if you get this camera, one thing that I need to remind you is that of a very particular problem which I had. Now if we always think that as a memory card slot there's no way to insert the memory card wrongly, so if you insert it wrongly, you might it won't go in, and you decide that okay, I actually inserted it the wrong way, and you put it in the other way. Now just remember, for this slot, even if this is the right way to put it in, but even if you accidentally put it in the wrong way, the card actually goes in and it actually locks. And then, so you might not know that you actually put it in the wrong way, and that's very scary. In fact, the manual actually mentions that you shouldn't insert cards the wrong way, or you might damage the connectors. But still, physically, isn't it supposed to stop me from inserting it the wrong way? But I have actually inserted it in the wrong way before, and that was with the store unit when I was testing it, and took me a while to figure out what was actually wrong. So remember, always insert the label side towards the back of the camera, the one that doesn't have the LCD screen. Excuse me. Okay, now so we close it back up. We have so on the back of the camera we just have a record button as well as the hold button to stop you from accidentally recording. Now one thing you need to know is that any button will actually wake up the camera, but if you press the record button, not only do you wake up the camera, you immediately start recording. So while it might feel nice for you to press this record button, just remember that you might want to turn it, if you just want to turn it on, you might just want to press these instead and not this record button. And excuse me. And one more thing that might not be very apparent now is that this is just a simple switch mechanism. This isn't actually the record button. So when you press it, there's no circuit board or anything here. What it actually does is, when you press it, it just nudges this little plastic tip here, and that's the actual button for recording. This will be apparent when we start reviewing. This is more apparent when we start reviewing some accessories later. Now, as we can see here, the body of the AS100 is splash proof. So you can't throw it into water, but you can splash water over it. So you can use it in the rain, or you can, well, you can shoot some car wash scenes maybe. But the manual does advise against direct jets of water. So high pressure water shooting at it, not good. Spilling a cup of water over it, probably fine. That's splash proof. Now if you want it to be waterproof, what comes in the package is this little guy. So this is the waterproof case that comes with the camera. So all you have to do is drop it in, and this thing is now rated as waterproof up to 5 meters, and you can still access all the buttons on the side, so there you can still press the buttons and the operation. And in this waterproof case, you notice that they actually have a mic area, which might get you wondering is, how can it be waterproof if it has holes? That's actually a very funny thing how they did it. So it doesn't seem like it's actually a hole. It's more like a piece of rubber. So what it's actually doing is, it is attempting to allow sound waves to actually hit the rubber and conduct through to the mic at the back. End result is, while you can record audio, even though it's in this case, the audio is very muted, of course. So you can't really hear anything. You can still hear something, but it's gonna be muted and it's not clear at all. So do note that if you're going to use this case. Now here we come back to the back here. Now, as mentioned previously, remember that the record button isn't actually a circle. So this little record button here, what it does is pushes the it just has a little plastic stub that pushes the record button in. So you might have some problem with the sensitivity every now and then, since after all it's just one button pushing a pin that pushes another button that pushes a pin. Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Essentially, sometimes you might have to press it quite hard to get it to work. So I don't think it's much of an issue for normal usage scenarios, since I guess you just use this on when you're riding your skateboard or something. You definitely check to make sure it's recording. And I guess one of the good things about, if you really need to know whether you're recording or not, is there's a giant light here that indicates whether you're recording or not, and there's a light at the back. So very easy to see whether or not you are recording. And of course, in the waterproof case, you already have a 1/4" screw, so you can still mount it there. Okay, let's get this guy out. Let's look at some connector ports. So we have 2 doors here. One is, this here is the USB port. So you use it to do charging and also data connectivity. And here we have a micro HDMI port, the accessory connector for the camera, and of course something that might be interesting to people is that this is a microphone jack. So you can actually get any normal microphone with a normal audio plug to just plug it in and do audio recording. It says plug-in power here. I'm not familiar with this term. A quick search on the internet says that means that the camera can actually supply power to the microphone. So I guess that's a good thing. But one thing that I guess you should know is that I tested it with one of the mics that I had lying around in the house. For some reason, it introduced a lot of static at the beginning and at the end of recording. So if you're going to use an external microphone, I suggest that you actually test everything properly first to make sure that it's working. And now for a short demo of the HDMI jack using the HDMI port in the AS100. So I'm gonna get a HDMI cable. I'm gonna plug it in. Okay. And we get to see the camera, what the camera sees. In camera mode, we will get to see what the camera is looking at. So you can use it as a framing device. And of course, but notice that if I start recording now, and you don't actually see any indicator on the TV, on the HDMI display that is actually recording or not. It's really just a pure signal output. And there's also another interesting thing here is that the audio is actually being fed through HDMI as well, what the mic hears. So if I turn up the volume on the TV, I can start hearing feedback because it's actually hearing the mic. It's actually hearing the mic, what the mic hears. It's actually playing it back. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Some people might actually want that feature. And of course, the most important thing that you can do is, I need to stop the recording first. We can come into playback mode, and we can choose to playback our videos. So when you play back videos, you can hear the sound coming from the speaker here, as well as from TV. It's really just a pure signal output. And there's also another interesting thing here. Okay, then but again, what you see on the display is extremely bare bones. When it's playing, again, you don't see any sort of playback video or whatever, and the only indication of what file you're playing is just this number here, which probably doesn't help in the long run. So yeah, you can look around the video. So this actually stuns the use somewhat. It's a review tool, but it's very hard to review in detail if you have a lot of videos, and since you don't have any actual display on the screen, that's going to be difficult also. The other thing is that even though you can review the files, you can't actually delete them, so you can't actually use this as a management tool for your files. You definitely need a PC to manage it. And that's it. That's a short demo of the HDMI capabilities of the AS100. The USB jack is used to do charging as well as data transfer. Now, the battery is supposed to last for quite a while if you're recording on the normal resolutions and you're not viewing the what the camera sees through its Wi-Fi connection. So it's supposed to record at least 10 hours at normal resolutions. But of course, you'll be wondering, how do I get extra power? You can either buy extra batteries, and the nice thing is it's a USB port anyway, so all we have to do is bring in a USB battery pack. And we can plug it in. So you can see when you plug in an external USB power supply, the battery indicator disappears to indicate that the battery isn't used anymore. So, and it's being powered by the USB power source. Now, this won't charge the battery while it's in use, so it's purely driven by the USB power source, and it won't charge it as you're using it. The power draw from the camera is 5 volts at 0.3 amps. So we'll just start recording and see if the requirements rise up. So it's 0.4 amps when it's recording, probably higher. Now in the manual, the Sony recommends that you have a 1.5 amp battery power supply. So technically, any battery pack that says that it can charge your iPad, which has outputs of 5 volts and at 2 amps, should work properly as an external power supply for this AS100. Now, depending on the pack bundle you bought, you might have also received the Live View remote watch. So essentially what this is going to be a simple watch-like remote control that you wear on your wrist to communicate with the camera. Now, one good thing to note is that this doesn't just work on the AS100, it works on all the Sony remote cameras. Okay, so this is on, so I just turn the watch on. And we can see what the camera is seeing. Okay, obviously what the functions is that we can set it to start recording. We can stop it from recording. Then we can do simple tasks like we can change the mode from video mode to camera mode or to the interval shot mode. And we can set the screen resolution, basically the video resolution, the capture resolution. Change whether steady cam is on or off. And all this is to set settings on the watch. And that's actually essentially it. So we can come back here. I can actually switch it to actual watch mode. Now, a few things to note is that when you're connecting it through Wi-Fi like this, you're actually draining more power from the camera, and wow, this thing is listed as being waterproof up to 30 meters. But the interesting thing here is that they say Wi-Fi doesn't work underwater, so not really sure how that works out. I guess the main thing here is they are looking more on scenarios like when you're boating or something, so you can operate it when it's wet or what. That's why they made it waterproof. But when you're underwater with the underwater case and everything, probably won't work since they said it doesn't work through water. Now, this thing also charges through USB, but there's no battery for you to remove, so it's not non-removable battery. And if you're wondering, right now this thing is oriented for wearing on the left wrist. You can actually just take out the straps and flip it around so you can wear it on your right wrist as well. And I guess that's it. It's a very simple thing. It's a really nice to have if you're if you want to view it remotely of what your camera can see. But of course, if you bought a pack with just the camera, you probably can use you can use your phone or some other device to connect to the camera, because Sony actually has a Play Memories mobile to view it. So you might not have to buy this if you don't already have it. Oh, and of course, for the new AS100, this the wrist control can actually connect to, I think it was 4 or 5 cameras at the same time, so you can start them to record at the same time for a multi-view type of scenario. Okay, that's it. And so, thanks for watching this review of the Sony AS100. Now, if you want to see some sample video clips of what the Sony AS100 is capable of, please check out the other videos in my AS100 playlist. And also, please subscribe to my channel to get informed when additional videos, sample videos will be released. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you all around.